Hello. Today's episode number 35 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses 3 high-limit slots tricks, including winning strategy number 6. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. territory of Northern Mariana Islands, as well as the great U.S. states of Ohio and Oklahoma. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is the podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance.
John Friedel from the Professor Slots blog reveals all his tips and tricks for thriving in the casino environment. Choose winning slot machines and identify your gambling goals. Being entertained, earning comps, winning take-home cash, or combining them. John has won 90 taxable jackpots and a luxury car in 9 months of slot play and made a profit at slots gambling since 2013.
In case you missed it, on last week's episode, I went over winning strategy number 5, winning holiday patterns, explaining how holidays are its own kind of special casino event to be taken advantage of from the slots player's point of view. Also last week, I reviewed New York, North Carolina, and North Dakota slot machine casino gambling. In New York, there are 23 casinos in this state where actual payout return statistics are available for non-tribal casinos only. In North Carolina, there are 2 tribal casinos offering skill-based video slot machines. And North Dakota offers 5 tribal casinos also having slot machines which are of the video games of skill variety. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. This podcast episode segment continues our journey of winning strategies for slot machine casino gambling. Here, I'll be explaining to you my high-limit slots tricks, including winning strategy number 6. Now, please understand I'm not trying to turn you into a full-time high-limit slot machine gambler. Not at all. As I'll explain, there are some very inexpensive slots winning strategies which can be applied to more than just low-limit slots. They can also be rather cheaply applied with only a few bets on a $1 to $5 denomination high-limit slot machine. The 3 tricks you should know about involve applying a few of the winning strategies I've already discussed, as well as a new slot strategy, which I'll be explaining in full momentarily. Here goes. This episode segment has the following subsections. 1. An introduction. 2. The first trick, using winning strategy 1 in a high-limit slots area. 3. The second trick, combining winning strategies number 1 and number 7. 4. The third trick, if a slot machine shows a win, bet once. 5. How long does a slot machine need to be idle? 6. Play high-limit slot machines when appropriate, carefully. And 7. A summary. Let's talk about the first trick. One interesting pattern I'd noticed at a relatively medium-sized casino had to do with a simple observation. At this local casino, I noticed that I would win once when I first sat down, but not again for some time. This is a slot strategy I have talked about before, specifically episode number 23, Winning Strategy 1, along with Main Slots 2018. This is at ProfessorSlots.com/E23. Show notes for that episode are available at ProfessorSlots.com/E23. By using this approach, we can take advantage of a common practice found at many casinos, where they provide an initial winning taste. The first dozen times I visited the high-limit slots area in this small local casino, I found it odd that I would win a jackpot during the first few pushes of the button. But then I would literally spend thousands of dollars without so much as another hit. I don't mean I wouldn't have another taxable jackpot, but that I wouldn't win anything whatsoever. It just seemed odd. Or put another way, it was statistically unlikely to be randomly happening so consistently and often. Visit after visit after visit. As an aside, please don't worry too much about all the money I was spending. Unbeknownst to me at the time, each $100 I was spending over this 3-month period was earning me one more entry for the drawing of a car, which I would end up winning. I tell that story in Professor Slots Podcast episode number 19, How I Won a Car, Iowa Slots 2018. Show notes are available at professorslots.com/E19. As a second aside, the money I was spending was actually significant slots winnings from another local casino where I was consistently making quite a profit using winning strategy number 7, the topic of my next episode. The second trick is to combine winning strategies number 1 and number 7. So getting back to the story of what I learned and how I learned it, at the time I even struck up a conversation with one of the slot operators. In our helpful conversation, I asked them when were people winning jackpots and on which machines were they doing so. You may be a little surprised that I would just ask that, but, why not? This slot attendant helpfully told me about a slots player who had recently simply gone from one machine to another, winning about 8 total taxable jackpots in a row in the high-limit slots area. I found this other slots player's approach very intriguing, to say the least, and have since tried to employ my winning strategy 7 alongside playing each machine up to 5 times. By doing so, I found that my annual return for this strategy alone resulted in a 150% profit over my original bankroll. However, I'd only been using this strategy for 4 months since the casino had opened, and needed to continue doing it for about a year to actually be convinced that it wasn't either temporary or due to having limited data. Today, I see this as an error on my part, and probably a serious loss of winnings. Winning slots strategies exist, and you can find them yourself, if you can believe your own eyes. The area most people get stuck on is this. They don't believe these strategies are possible, and it's hard to try to convince yourself they do when you've already convinced yourself it's impossible. It doesn't help that most winning strategies are actually relatively new, and based on the new casino technologies that started being installed in new casinos since 2012. Getting down off my usual soapbox and back on topic, I have found this combination of winning strategies to be the cheapest approach yet to slot machine casino gambling, while resulting in the highest profit margin. Using it at my local casino required only $500 per visit, and I would get a $250 in return on most visits without a taxable jackpot. That is to say, I would spend the $500 and I would make $250, so I'd go home with half of my bankroll. But then there were the taxable jackpots won, which are more than a few of the typical jackpot winnings on a high-limit slot machine. That is to say, if you win something on a high-limit slot machine, it's more likely to be a taxable jackpot than not. As I'm sure you understand, a single $4,000 taxable jackpot pays for a number of subsequent visits where I might lose $250. Again, so far this is all further storytelling about the experiences which resulted in my discovery of winning strategy 1 and how to best use it in conjunction with another winning strategy I knew of. But next, I learned a strategy I didn't already know. The third trick. If a slot machine shows a win, bet once. By using these known strategies, yet another strategy grew out of them. It's easy, simple, and quite inexpensive. And it's completely counterintuitive to what most slots players will tell you what to do. But because they feel this way is the reason why it works. Basically, slots players will tell you it is important to check the machine's last play. If it shows a winner, then, in general, skip that machine. Don't play it, is the common advice. I say phooey, but with a small caveat I'll pull from winning strategy 1. My third trick is this. If a slot machine is showing a win, bet once. However, avoid that machine if it's been played recently. For this to work, if it is going to work, a slot machine showing a win needs to be idle for a while, and probably hasn't been idle if its chair has been pulled out. That the chair is still pulled out is a wonderful clue it was used fairly recently. How does this work? At some casinos that set up their slot machines to offer an initial taste, the first push of the button on a high-limit slot machine will win either a small, non-taxable jackpot worth several $100s or a larger taxable jackpot over $1,200. For example, I happened to be in the casino one Saturday evening to take care of some tax paperwork having to do with winning a car the night before, and noticed that one of the $100 high-limit slot machines was showing a $1,000 win. I didn't think much of such a small jackpot, as it was not even taxable, but it was something I noticed. When I went back to the casino the next morning, I noticed that that slot machine had the same identical winning reel combination showing on it. To me, this indicated that no one had played that machine for just over one day. At first, I didn't think much of it, but then, standing there looking at it, I got to thinking about my strategies. And standing there thinking it through, I learned something. Previously, my strategy was not to play any slot machine if it showed a win. But I started to think, when I was using winning strategy 1, what if I was winning at one push of the button because those machines simply hadn't been played for some time? Was this perhaps a refinement of a known strategy? As usual, theory metaphorically in hand, I decided to test it. I walked over to the $100 machine, showing the $1,000 win that had been there for 24 hours, placed my player's card, along with $100 into the machine, pressed the bet button for a 1-credit bet, and immediately won a $5,000 taxable jackpot. To date, this is the only time I've won any taxable jackpot on a $100 denomination slot machine. Although, using this strategy at the same casino, shortly later I did win $500 with a single 1-credit bet on another $100 slot machine. One loose end with using this strategy is the question of how long does a slot machine need to be idle for it to turn into a winning slot machine via this strategy? The simple and honest answer is, I don't know. But consider my observations. I've found more slot machines are winner with this strategy if I attend the casino on a Saturday morning, especially after a busy Friday night, or mid-afternoon on Sundays. That's because these are typically the longest times when slot machines aren't played, and being idle for some time matters. But how long does it need to be idle, you ask? I'm still piecing together clues about this. Another clue comes from a personal conversation with Eric Rosenthal, from whom I have second-hand information. Apparently, he knows someone he trusts from within the slots manufacturer who told him that slot machines reset whenever a voucher is printed. That's interesting. If true, it means idle means no time at all. So that information alone may be enough to tell you how long idle is, but I don't think so. Don't get me wrong, I think that information is valuable, but I don't think it's all the information. Why? Because I've seen 30 minutes work when an immediate next player did not. Other times, I've seen it work only when it's been idle for hours. Another area of uncertainty is maybe, more like probably, different casinos are set up differently. But I have put some effort into trying to figure this out. After some thought, 1 week later I went back to the casino and took handwritten notes of all the current spin reels showing on all the high-limit slot machines at that casino. Slightly over a day later, I went back to that casino with the intent of executing the usual strategy, but brought extra cash with which to push the button once on any high-limit slot machine still showing the same reel spin from the previous day, whether it was a winning combination or not. Unfortunately, that day was a beautiful day in January, with moderately high temperatures not seen in months. Somehow, for this reason, the casino and the high-limit slot machine room was incredibly busy. I mention this because, when checking the reel symbols on each slot machine not in use, I found that all slot machines had been played. I then went ahead playing my usual strategy, and to my dismay, I did not win a single time, despite 4 immediately prior visits where I made 50 to 60% over the bankroll I'd brought. What I learned from this confirmation, such as it was was that it was likely the wins I had been seeing previously when using my unrefined strategy of 5 pulls then stop was occurring on slot machines which had not been played for a while. That is to say, I had been winning on idle slot machines. So during busy periods in the high-limit slots rooms, which, by the way, isn't necessarily the same times when the overall casino itself is busy, I learned that I shouldn't use this strategy. Not then, anyway. All I can really say about how long is idle is where casinos have set up this winning strategy, winning slot machines need to be idle for a while. This bit of information may not seem like much, but it's something once considered impossible, which evidence now suggests isn't any longer. And being the savvy slots enthusiast I know that you, yes, you, are, I expect you'll make the most out of it. This next section is called Play High-Limit Slot Machines When Appropriate, Carefully. So let's continue to talk about getting the most out of my winning strategies. Really, the whole point of these specific strategies is that they don't require much money to try out. Not to be too blunt about it, why wouldn't you try out cheap strategies in the high-limit slots area? I suppose I first noticed this myself at Seminole Brighton Casino in Florida earlier this year, and then again at Foxwoods Casino in Connecticut in April. Only afterwards did I think, while I'm here, why don't I try out the winning strategies I've just figured out for others, but do it in the high-limit slots area? Unfortunately, this idea came to me only after I'd left both places. But here it is for you. If you have figured out a winning slot strategy that appears to work at a casino, consider trying it in the high-limit slots area. This is especially true if the specific slot strategy you found to work outside of the high-limit area doesn't require much bankroll to win. If only a small bankroll is required, or if you're willing to risk a larger bankroll if it doesn't, consider one way to optimize your strategy by bringing it into the high-limit slots area. But carefully, of course. For those who have listened to my podcast episode number 27, Seminole Brighton Casino, Minnesota Slots 2018, with show notes available at professorslots.com/E27, my follow-up thoughts are that doing so should work quite well there. However, for those who have listened to my podcast episode number 30, Winning Small at Foxwoods, Montana Slots 2018, with show notes available at professorslots.com/E30, I'd caution against this approach there. As Dr. Mike from the You Can Bet on That podcast very well knows, and I was sitting not too far from him at the time, you can win a couple $100 on a high-limit slot machine there within the first few bets. But the problem is, you can do the same thing on a low-limit slot machine. You can win the same amount. So to make the most profit, use the winning strategy I described outside of any of the high-limit areas at Foxwoods to bet less for the same winnings. Your profit will be larger. In summary, I've pointed out the easy application of 2 past winning strategies, along with a new winning strategy, which would require only a few bets on a high-limit slot machine. From a high level, the 3 high-limit slots tricks I've outlined are simply pointing out that the winning strategies you've worked hard to uncover at a casino you frequent can be leveraged, perhaps even optimized, in the high-limit slots area with relatively little risk. Because finding that a winning strategy works is a huge accomplishment for which you should be proud to have uncovered. But don't stop at just finding it, even if it was with my help. Your next step is, as always, to work closer to accomplishing your gambling goals. If your gambling goal is entertainment, as with most slots enthusiasts, then getting a W2G for having won a taxable jackpot would be terribly exciting. I know my first WTG was very exciting, and quite honestly, you never quite get tired of winning them. If your gambling goal is earning comps, however, then you'll certainly earn Players Club points by making bets on high-limit slot machines. But more importantly, some or all of your winnings earned in the high-limit slots area can be spent on low-limit slots. money you would not otherwise have. Finally, if your gambling goal is winning take-home money, well, you'll earn that money with little cash spent. If, as always, the casino you're at has been set up by their operator such that one or more of these approaches will work. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the second segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here, I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in 3 U.S. states, territories, or federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up first is the rather interesting Northern Mariana Islands Slot Machine Casino Gambling 2018. Here goes. Northern Mariana Islands Slot Machine Casino Gambling consists of 7 casinos, with 5 gambling facilities on the island of Saipan and the remaining 2 casinos located in San Jose on the island of Tinian. Additional casinos include visiting cruise ships, which are legally allowed to keep their casinos open while docked. Casino gambling on the Northern Mariana Islands is a small but growing sector of the island economy, formerly mainly reliant on tourism. Officially the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, this U.S. territory is a collection of 15 islands in the northwestern Pacific Ocean. These islands are part of the Mariana Archipelago. This chain of islands also includes the southernmost island of Guam, a separate U.S. territory already reviewed. According to the 2010 U.S. Census, 53,883 people were living in the Northern Mariana Islands. Most of the population resides on the islands of Saipan, with the capital of Capitol Hill, Tinian, and Rota. The other islands of the Northern Marianas are lightly inhabited, with the island of Pagan experiencing the largest population fluxes. Gaming regulation activities in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, also known as CNMI, has been highly dynamic ever since casino gaming was legalized on Saipan by the CNMI Senate on March 3, 2014, without being put to a vote by the residents of CNMI, after years of such proposals being rejected by voters. Even as recently as November of 2017, areas of gaming regulation development include various new gaming legislation which is being proposed in the House Gaming Committee. The constitutionality of current gaming law in Tinian is being heard by the High Court, and the governor of Saipan has requested a report on the gambling market for Saipan. Northern Mariana Islands has an active casino junket industry, according to the Commonwealth Casino Commission regulations, where, quote, gamblers are flown to an area where legalized gambling is available and booked into a hotel casino at a discount provided by the junket promoter or operator who engages in junket activity, which includes but is not limited to the provision of transportation, accommodation, food and drinks, discounts, rebates, or entertainment with the purpose of promoting wagering in exchange for receiving commissions or other compensation paid by the casino operator, end quote. The minimum legal age for gambling in Northern Mariana Islands is 21 years of age. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. territory or are considering owning a slot machine there. Here it is. There is no information available online that I can find regarding private ownership of a slot machine on the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands. Article 21 of the Constitution of the U.S. Territory of the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands prohibits gambling except as provided by Commonwealth law or established through initiative in the Commonwealth or in any senatorial district. Because of this constitutional article, the Commonwealth has an interesting approach to gaming regulations and gaming commissions. They appear to have 2 such commissions, established by initiative and senatorial district, where the scope of authority for each is less than clear. The islands of Saipan and Tinian appear to have effectively established their own local gaming control commissions. According to my best understanding at this moment, Saipan has its Commonwealth Casino Commission established through initiative in the Commonwealth, while Tinian has the Tinian Casino Gaming Control Commission established through its senatorial district. There are legal debates ongoing as to whether the gaming regulations of the Commonwealth Casino Commission also apply to or even override those established locally in Tinian. There is limited information available online with regards to the historical establishment of these locally run gaming control commissions. However, Tinian voters in their senatorial district established a local initiative to legalize gambling and create its commission on Tinian with the Tinian Casino Gaming Control Act of 1989. This enabling act was revised in 2004 and then again in 2013 to become the current revised Tinian Casino Gaming Control Act of 1989. The ongoing legal disputes regarding the legality of various components of this act, mostly being settled by trial in the Supreme Court of the territory, including the length of the commissioner's term runs as well as the constitutionality of a legislative delegation being empowered to amend a gambling law enacted by local initiative. With regards to the Commonwealth Casino Commission, as of August 2017, its executive director, Edward Dion Guerrero, is supporting the governor of Saipan by working on a report aimed at clarifying for policymakers as many details as possible of the gambling market of a casino located in Saipan. In essence, the report will focus on the model of gaming market which is currently applied to Macau, and its general difference compared to the established model of gaming in the U.S. It has been reported that the government of this U.S. territory is researching new capabilities of legislation of the field. In response to this report, Executive Director Guerrero has stated that an existing robust regime of regulations is currently functioning in the industry with a high rate of success. Slot machine payout return percentages have not been made available to the public, including the legal establishment of minimum payout return limits. However, paragraph 4B of section 175-10.1-515, accounting records of the Title 175 Commonwealth Casino Commission regulations, does state accounting records must include, quote, slot analysis report which, by each machine, compare actual hold percentages to theoretical hold percentages, end quote. So these return percentages are legally required to be collected, but are apparently not shared with the public. In this next section, I'll discuss Northern Mariana Islands gambling establishments. As usual, the website links for each casino, assuming they have set up a website, is available by clicking on this segment in the show notes, available at professorslots.com/E35, or simply go directly to professorslots.com/MP, which is the designation for Northern Mariana Islands. There are 5 gambling facilities on the island of Saipan and 2 casinos located in San Jose on the island of Tinian. Saipan has more than 540 slots and gaming machines, as well as 126 table games. Tinian has a total of 250 slots and gaming machines, along with 100 table games. The 5 casinos on the island of Saipan are 1. Best Sunshine Live Garapan in the town of Garapan. 2. Club 88 Garapan in the town of Garapan. 3. Club 88 Mariana's Resort and Spa in the town of Garapan. 4. Club C E-Gaming Club in the town of Sasepi. 5. Imperial Pacific Resort in the town of Garapan. The 2 casinos on the island of Tinian are 1. Plumera Golf and Casino Resort in the town of San Jose. 2. Tinian Ocean View Casino Resort in the town of San Jose. In summary, the U.S. territory of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands is a collection of 15 islands in the northwestern Pacific Ocean, about 3/4 of the way from the Philippines from Hawaii. With its more than 53,000 residents as of the U.S. Census of 2010, most reside on the islands of Saipan, Tinian, and Rota. Casino gambling was legalized in 2014 by the Senate, after years of being rejected by voters. Since, casino gambling has been a small but growing sector of the island economy, formerly mainly reliant on tourism, and has an active casino junket industry. Northern Mariana Islands slot machine casino gambling consists of 5 casinos in Saipan and 2 casinos in Tinian. Additional casinos include visiting cruise ships, which are legally allowed to keep casinos open while docked. Slot machine payout returns have not been made available to the public. Also, there has been no legal establishment of a minimum payout return limit. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is Ohio Slot Machine Casino Gambling 2018. Here goes. Ohio Slot Machine Casino Gambling consists of 11 casinos, of which all but 4 of these gambling establishments are pari-mutuel racinos with slot machines of the Video Lottery Terminal (VLT) variety only. In 2009, Ohio voters passed a statewide referendum to add a constitutional amendment allowing one non-racino-style freestanding casino to be located in designated locations in each of 4 major cities. These were Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, and Toledo. These 4 casinos were opened in 2012. They have traditional slot machines where the odds of winning are primarily controlled by the casino operator rather than VLTs controlled by the state lottery agency. Each of these gambling establishments, whether a racino or full casino, report their slot payout return percentages to the State Gaming Commission, which are publicly available. The minimum legal age for casino gambling in Ohio is 21. For pari-mutuel wagering and participation in lottery activities, the minimum legal age is 18. Legal statutes on Ohio gaming can be found in the Revised Code Section 3772, which, when passed, created the Ohio Casino Control Commission. Ohio entered regulated casino gambling in November 2009, when 52% of Ohio voters approved a constitutional amendment backed by the parties that would become the operators of Ohio's 4 casinos. In addition to the usual fees and taxes imposed on Ohio businesses, the constitutional amendment levied a 33% tax of gross casino revenue and specified how proceeds of the tax are distributed. It also required each licensed casino operator to pay a license fee of $50 million per casino dedicated to workforce development, as well as make an initial capital investment of $250 million for development of each casino facility. This constitutional amendment also created the Ohio Casino Control Commission, as well as required the Ohio General Assembly to pass other laws to facilitate the operation of the Casino Gaming Amendment. Regarding slot machine private ownership, it is legal to privately own a slot machine in the state of Ohio. The Ohio Casino Control Commission is a bipartisan regulatory body made up of 7 commissioners, the executive director and supporting staff providing oversight of the casino gaming industry in Ohio. Its mission statement reads, quote, "The Ohio Casino Control Commission has the responsibility to ensure the integrity of casino gaming by licensing, regulating, investigating, and enforcing state laws." End quote. The commission was created in 2011 following the passage of the state's Casino Control Law, Revised Code Section 3772, authorizing the commission to license, regulate, investigate, and exercise jurisdiction over all persons participating in casino gaming. Administrative rules and resolutions adopted by the commission establish the standards and procedures for casino operators, vendors, and licensed key and gaming employees. The commission is a law enforcement agency responsible for enforcing the casino control law. In its general report, the commission provides criminal statistics within its role as a law enforcement agency for each of the 4 non-pari-mutuel casinos. Violations range from aggravated menacing to voyeurism, and include the number of occurrences for each, as well as the casino location. The largest casino in Ohio is the Hollywood Casino Columbus at www.hollywoodcolumbus.com. In 2017, it had 2,229 slot machines, 70 gaming tables, and 34 poker tables. The second largest casino in Ohio is Hollywood Casino Toledo at www.hollywoodcasinotoledo.com, having 2,044 slot machines, 59 gaming tables, and 19 poker tables in 2017. The 11 casinos and racinos in Ohio, along with their actual slot machine return percentages reported to the state for the beginning of 2017 to mid-2017 are 1. Belterra Park Gaming and Entertainment Center in Cincinnati, a pari-mutuel racino, having a slots payout return of 91.08%. 2. Hard Rock Roxino in Northfield Park in Northfield, a pari-mutuel racino, having a slots payout return of 91.06%. 3. Hollywood Casino Columbus in Columbus, a casino, having a slots payout return of 92.16%. This is the second highest return in the state. 4. Hollywood Casino Toledo in Toledo, a casino, having a slots payout return of 91.11%. 5. Hollywood Gaming Dayton Raceway in Dayton, a pari-mutuel casino, having a slots payout return of 90.47. This is the second lowest return in the state. 6. Hollywood Gaming Mohanning Valley in Austintown, a pari-mutuel casino, having a slots payout return of 90.09%. This is the lowest return in the state. 7. Jack Cincinnati Casino in Cincinnati, a casino, having a slots payout return of 91.58%. This is the third highest return in the state. 8. Jack Cleveland Casino in Cleveland, a casino having a slots payout return of 92.34%. This is the highest return in the state. 9. Jack Thistledown Casino in North Randall, a pari-mutuel casino having a slots payout return of 90.87%. This is the third lowest return in the state. 10. Miami Valley Gaming in Lebanon, a pari-mutuel casino having a slots payout return of 91.24%. And 11. Sciona Downs Casino in Columbus, a pari-mutuel casino having a slots payout return of 90.96%. In summary, Ohio slot machine casino gambling consists of 11 casinos, of which all but 4 are pari-mutuel casinos with video lottery terminal slot machines. In 2009, 52% of Ohio voters passed a constitutional amendment for a Vegas-style casino to be located in the Ohio cities of Cincinnati, Cleveland, Columbus, and Toledo. These 4 casinos opened in 2012 and have the only traditional slot machines in the state of Ohio. The Ohio Casino Control Commission establishes the standards and procedures for casino operators, vendors, and licensed key and gaming employees. In its annual report, the Commission provides criminal statistics at each Vegas-style casino. Each casino, or full casino, report their slot payout return percentages to the Commission. Remember to visit ProfessorSlots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Up next is the third of 3 states, territories, or federal district comprising this episode segment, Oklahoma Slot Machine Casino Gambling 2018. Here goes. Oklahoma slot machine casino gambling consists of over 100 Native American tribal casinos, including 2 pari-mutuel wagering casinos. All casinos are legally allowed to offer traditional slot machines as well as Class II games. However, most casinos have chosen to offer only Class II bingo machines, which look and behave somewhat similar to traditional slot machines. These machines are actually games of bingo with spinning video reels, which are for entertainment purposes only. No public information is available with regards to gaming machine payout returns in the state of Oklahoma. The minimum legal age for casino gambling in Oklahoma is either 18 or 21, depending upon the specific gambling establishment. For pari-mutuel wagering and participation in lottery activities, the minimum legal age is 18. Gaming machines in Oklahoma, whether Class II bingo machines or Class III traditional slot machines, do not accept or pay out in cash. To play one of these gaming machines, payment is accepted by electronic debit cards and payouts are by printed receipt. Regarding slot machine private ownership, it is legal to privately own a slot machine in the state of Oklahoma if it is 25 years old or older. Oklahoma slot machine casino gambling is not controlled by a state gaming commission because there are no commercial casinos within the state of Oklahoma. Rather, Oklahoma gaming regulations are defined by negotiated state tribal compacts between the Oklahoma state government and 31 of the 38 federally recognized American Indian tribes within Oklahoma's borders. Oklahoma has the second largest American Indian population in the United States, while California has the largest. Since 2009, Oklahoma has led the nation in the growth of tribal gaming. For those interested, a useful resource on tribal gaming in Oklahoma is provided by a nonprofit called the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association, OIGA. Their website is oiga.org. The OIGA was established in 1986. It is a nonprofit organization of Indian nations with other non-voting associate members representing organizations, tribes, and businesses engaged in tribal gaming enterprises from around Oklahoma. On their About webpage, they provide their mission statement, which reads, quote, "The mission of the Oklahoma Indian Gaming Association is to promote the general welfare of the Oklahoma Indian tribes through the development of sound policies and practices with respect to the conduct of gaming enterprises in Indian country. As a trade association, the purpose of OIGA is to educate and disseminate information to the tribal, federal, and state governments and the general public on issues related to tribal government gaming." End quote. Of the 38 federally recognized American Indian tribes within Oklahoma, 25 of them are members of OIGA. Decades ago, tribal gaming in Oklahoma began with bingo halls. Now, 31 tribes operate 135 gaming facilities with approximately 42,850 electronic games, nearly 5,300 bingo seats, and other games. These gaming facilities range in size from casino resorts to convenience store truck stops to a small annex. There are 20 casinos with a total of greater than 5,000 hotel rooms, as well as almost 500,000 square feet of meeting, function, and entertainment space. Other facilities include nearly 200 restaurants and bars, 9 golf courses with a total of 126 holes, 5 spas, and 7 RV parks with nearly 375 sites. The largest casino in Oklahoma is the WinStar World Casino and Resort at www.winstarworldcasino.com. It has 7,400 gaming machines and 88 table games. The second largest in Oklahoma is Riverwind Casino at www.riverwind.com, having 2,700 gaming machines and 27 table games. The 108 largest casinos in Oklahoma are available on my webpage for Oklahoma slots at professorslots.com/OK. I think we'd both appreciate my not trying to recite all of them here. In summary, Oklahoma slot machine casino gambling consists of 130 Native American tribal casinos, including 2 parimutuel racinos. Most casinos have chosen to offer only Class II bingo machines, which are similar to traditional slot machines. Oklahoma has the second largest American Indian population in the U.S. Since 2009, Oklahoma has led the nation in the growth rate of tribal gaming. No public information is available with regards to gaming machine payout returns in the state of Oklahoma. Remember to visit professorslots.com/subscribe to get my free report revealing the top 7 online resources for improving your gambling performance, including the one I've used as a top-tier slot machine casino gambler. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is Winning Strategy 7, Return 1 week later. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is more brief overviews of the current state of gambling in 3 U.S. states, territories, or federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. states of Oregon and Pennsylvania, as well as the great U.S. territory of Puerto Rico. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are now available within most podcast apps, but are also available on my website at professorslots.com/E35. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.